Minnesota United fans, and come on, you loons. Um, this is the player ratings for the Houston Dynamo Minnesota United game. Minnesota United 1, Houston Dynamo 0. The May 25th Memorial Day weekend. It was a beautiful day for soccer. And we're just gonna go right through the starting lineup and subs and give them a player rating. Vito Malone was our keeper tonight. Um, Vito virtually had nothing to do too much all night. He had one great, couple good saves on crosses. He had to come out and do a little bit of work, but most of their shots went sizzled over the net, and didn't have too much to do. A lot of good clearances by the defense. Towards the end of the game, there was one through ball that got through on Dotson error. One of his only errors tonight. I'll make that added. But Vito comes out and cleans it up easily. Um, wasn't expecting him to come out as quick as he did, and he came out and ate it up, and the through ball was virtually non-threat after that because the game was over. It was right at the end of the game. But Vito virtually, didn't have much to do besides that one thing. Couple of cross saves, and they were just shooting a lot of outside the box shots that were sizzling over the net. There was a couple close, but Vito had his eye on them, and the defense did really well to minimize their shot opportunities. There was a couple of times where they brought it down our right side or their left, and they got it to got it down the end line. They're kind of walking down the end line towards Vito, and they just we would either concede a quarter or they just wouldn't get the cross through and we'd be able to clear it. So Vito, I'd give a 7.5 out of 10. He had a very good game, and I'll be giving halves here or there. I like to mix up my player ratings, so I like to keep it fun. But Vito, I'll give a 7.5. Roman Montier, who was the man of the match tonight, and my man of the match. He was virtually everywhere on that right side. Him and whoever you put in front of him literally will tear any MLS team apart. Maybe not any. I'm getting carried away, but Roman has been absolutely amazing since he came from France. He is just stronger than virtually anyone that tries to steal the ball off him. He just uses strength and positioning and takes it off him. But tonight he was the man of the match, and he's going to be my man of the match, and I'm going to give him a 9 out of 10. He does pick up a yellow card at the end on a needless challenge, but picks up a yellow card and will actually be suspended for the game on Wednesday, so that's going to be interesting. But he nonetheless had an amazing game and scores the goal on a deflection off the defender, but we'll take it, Jan with the assist, but we'll take it. So Roman with a 9 out of 10, and he gets the man of the match for me, and the Bell Bank man of the match too. Michael Boxall keeps his spot from last week against the Crew. Him and Coleman were the defensive partnership, and Boxall had a couple iffy clearances where they just get the job done, and then the danger is right back after. He did play very well, I think, with Coleman, but there was a couple times where he either wasn't in position or had a bad clearance, but it was minimal times he was caught out of position. I think once he should have let Roman follow the guy in center and drift back to the center to go deal with a header and they got the cross through, and luckily Coleman was there to clear it, but Boxall played very well, I'd say, and with the clean sheet, I'll have to give him a 7 out of 10. And then Coleman played very well tonight, and I was actually very disappointed this week when the MLS All Star Game voting come out, and there's no option to vote for Brett Coleman because this man has played himself into just about every team he's been into. He has played him into Heath's team last year and the year before, and I'm not sure if Heath was never really a fan or not, but he seems to keep playing himself into Heath's team every week. And after the performance tonight and his performances all year, he definitely should not be dropped for the game on Wednesday unless it would like to switch it up due to rotation or resting players. But I really don't think we should going away to Atlanta. But Coleman gets an 8 out of 10 for me tonight. He played very well in my eyes. And then our rookie, no, not Case Gasper, the Chase Gasper, our first overall pick, who we haven't seen much of with his hamstring injury. I don't know where he is. I thought he was coming back to fitness, but we'll see when we see him, I guess. I'm excited to see him because I was really hoping he could fill in at left back for Calvo since we traded him, because Calvo was never going to be the option at left back or into defense. I think we got some money for him that we're going to hopefully spend, but enough of that. Dotson comes in, and he was drafted in the second round, and I believe out of Oregon State. Yes, Oregon State. The Beavers. Go Beavers, I guess. But Dotson played very well. Dotson played very, very well. He played outstanding against Hertha Berlin on Wednesday on the weekend and comes in as a rookie start to first MLS start. He has a couple subs in the midfield this year, and he played well, but he comes in and plays left back with a spot we really needed someone to fill in, and he plays outstanding, absolutely outstanding tonight. And I want to give him a 8 out of 10, maybe an 8.5. I could maybe give him an 8.5 just to be a little generous because he played outstanding as a rookie, and yeah, I'll give him an 8. We'll just give him an 8. We'll keep him at that. We don't want to give him too big of a head. Asani, you played awesome. If you're watching, because you're not, I know you're not, but you played awesome. But don't get too big of a head, please. Keep it up. Jan Gregus played great in the midfield, I think. Broke up the play quite nicely. Only thing he could have done better is get over. He had a wide open header at the edge of the box where he just gets a little bit under it. He does have, and then Hassani actually set him up in the second half, I believe. I believe it was the second half for a good chance for a long shot outside the box, and he shanks it, which John could have done better with that, but for the most part, Jan's distribution and breaking up the play was really good. I thought. A couple things he could have worked on, but with the shank and the header, so I'm going to give him just a 7 out of 10 tonight. But for the most part, Jan's been awesome in the midfield this year. And with his partnership with Alonso, the Honey Badger, was breaking up plays, distributing the ball with Jan. They seem to understand each other quite nicely and help each other break up plays, and they really, really know what's going on in that midfield right now. And I'm going to have to give Alonso an 8 out of 10. He breaks up the play, and as our captain, bossed everyone around, was telling everyone what to do. Towards the end, when, like I said earlier, the through ball goes through and Vito has to come out, and it was a good through ball. And if Vito doesn't come out, Houston Dynamo is about to have a great opportunity. Coleman and Dotson just getting caught lackadaisical at the end, being lackadaisical, and a lot after Vito saved their butts, kind of, not really saved their butts, but came out and gets that. Alonso really yelled at him a bit to kind of say, come on, let's get these 3 points and let's go home. We don't need to let them get a cheap goal at the end or anything. So that's really nice to see from Alonso. So I'm going to give him an 8 out of 10 And then we'll move up to the rest of the midfield. Miguel on the left. I think he played very well tonight. Was involved in the play. Broke up the play defensively. I'll have to give him a 7 out of 10. I just didn't really do much in the final third, I thought, tonight. But he just was in the midfield doing his job, and that's what Miguel does. He played very good. He's our Batman. But I'll give him a 7 out of 10 tonight. And then Finley on the right, I thought missed a couple opportunities where, man, he's really got to score, but he was a real firecracker, and he was really getting the crowd. The crowd loves the boy from Duluth, and he really gets the crowd going and gives us that little bit of boost, and you could tell when he gets up all fired up, and he's there, and he's ready to put in a tackle, and he's there. But I'd say he gets I'll give him a 7.5 out of 10, just that half for being able to get the crowd up and going. And Miguel can do that too, but I think Ethan Finley just really has got the little bit of energy and spark plug to him. So yeah, 7.5 for Finley. And Angelo Rodriguez tonight, I thought played really well. His hold-up play tonight was good. He was getting frustrated. He really couldn't get involved at the end in the final third, but man, that hold-up play and everything else he does really helps the team get out. And that hold-up, like, there's many times where they were getting frustrated, and he was getting. There was a couple players that were just both getting frustrated with Angelo and the 31 on Houston. I don't recall his name, but they were going at it almost all night in the box, and Angelo played very well, and I'm gonna have to give him a 8 out of 10. Darwin tonight played very well. He was getting chipped a lot of kicks, tackles cheaply. I'm gonna have to say he was on the ground a little bit, and he was the ref wasn't having some of it, but I really think the refs need to protect him a little bit more. He really gets these challenges in, and they're upending him, and he's getting nothing, and it's really hard to see because he's 5'5", and these guys are 6 something, just towering over him, grabbing him, pulling him, and what do you expect to do? I mean, I just, in my eyes, think some of the things that they missed tonight on Darwin were a couple fouls, but it was just a one-off maybe for the night. The MLS referees are, some of them are good, and then there's others that looks like they've never reffed a game in their life. But Darwin, I'd say, gets a 7.5 tonight for me. He hits the post, really needs to score that on the turn and volley in the first half, and he gets through on net too, and he tries chipping the goalie when he can. He had Angelo on the back post, and he chips it over, and it really should have been. He really should have scored 2 goals, so I'm gonna have to give him a 7 out of 10. But he really helped bring the play up, and I mean, he really something's been wrong with his finishing. He's really got to start getting some of these goals in, and he is a scientist. You never know what he's going to do, but sometimes it's easier to make the play simple than spice it up. Sometimes that just doesn't work, but he's got to find the net soon. He's one of these games he's going to have 3-4 goals. He really is. But yeah, tonight, little rough night for Darwin, and he'll get a 7 out of 10 from me. Lastly, for the starting lineup, I believe that's everyone, actually. Sorry. And then for the subs, Abu Dalali gets subbed in for Rodriguez in the 65th minute. Abu has been struggling as of recently, but tonight comes in as pest. Really doesn't do too much, but he just disrupts the play and kind of helps us be able to break it up and stop Houston's spells of attack. And there's a couple times he was offsides. That's one thing, man. He played very poor on Wednesday against Berlin. It was offsides a lot, and tonight he looked like he was working on that. That was a little bit better, but there's a few times where if one of the times where if he would have been offsides, he luckily peeled off because Darwin was on. But if he wouldn't have been onside, he wouldn't have been able to. If he would have been able to time his run better, he would have been able to um, probably get the ball that Darwin couldn't just because of Darwin's stature. He wasn't the goalie was able to beat him. But Abu, I'd say, um, comes on and does his job and gets a 6 out of 10. Plays a lot better than his other sub appearances, I'd say. I'll give him a 6.5. I think he comes on and gives the team a little bit of something that Rodriguez was a little bit gassed and getting frustrated, so it was maybe good for him to come off. Schuler comes on for Quintero in the 70th minute. This you could tell was a defensive sub. Quintero needed to come off. He had been worked all night, and they were actually giving him some very rough challenges. So Schuler comes on and comes into the midfield left. He at first was in the midfielder for a bit. They kind of switched up the formation, and Schuler dropped back a bit, where Miguel was able to go forward a little bit, and that made Schuler come on, and he played pretty well. I'm not a fan of Schuler playing at left wing. I think that's experiment needs to be done with Heath, but won't even talk about that because he comes on, and I think as a defensive sub and to kind of tighten it up a bit, I think Schuler comes on and does a good job of that. He gets one good opportunity at the end of the game where I really wish he would have scored. He almost should have, but he does the right thing, and it's a good hit, and it's just a good save by the goalie. So Schuler comes on, and I'm actually going to give him a 7 out of 10. He comes on and does his job, and as a sub, a 7 out of 10. That's it's a good rating. He had a little bit of time, and I think he really helped our defense shore up, and the attack really helped on that left side. And then at the end of the game in the 83rd minute, Ike Apara comes on, and it was nice to see him come on, and he comes on for Miguel Ibarra. And Ike Apara comes on. He's not really on enough to get a score, but I'd give him a 6 out of 10. He comes on, makes a couple good clearances for 10, 15 minutes, and we get the job done, and we are singing Wonderwall at the end of the game, and it's a good feeling, and we leave Allianz Field with 3 points and back into 5th place and game on Wednesday. Thanks for stopping by, guys. That was for my player ratings for Houston Dynamo 0, Minnesota United 1. Come on, you Loons.